triplets.
Every family has a story.
Who lost a child and rolled out of my hospital with 3 babies just the same.
There are heartwarming
I love our life.
and heartbreaking moments.
I need you to wake up. The house is on fire.
My children lost their father when they were 17.
And relationships that transcend time.
Big 3?
Tonight, we celebrate the Pearson family
We all felt very early on that we were part of something special.
and what they've meant to audiences everywhere.
I've met a woman on the street. She said, I adopted this baby because of you.
We'll go behind the scenes and back to the beginning with never-before-seen casting tapes.
You know how much I love you?
Yeah, you've made it very clear.
And look forward with an exclusive preview from Season 3.
Season 3.
Welcome to the Paley Center salutes This Is Us.
First came,
Me.
and Dad said,
G.
and then came,
Me.
and Mom said,
Me.
and then came,
Me.
and we said,
That's 3.
Big 3?
Big 3!
When I first read the pilot script, I knew right away this was something that was special. You don't get opportunities like this.
I started writing This Is Us as a film. It was originally about 7 or 8 kids, all linked by a birthday at 36 years old. And I figured at the end of the film you would reveal that one of the couples was their parents. Only after putting it away for quite a while and the characters kept sticking with me, I thought, I wonder if making it a television show where I don't need to have a beginning, a middle, and an end, but just a continuous story of a family would hold a little better. And so I kind of picked it back up. I shaved off 4 or 5 of the characters and finished it out as a television show.
And my friend called me and said, man, I just read this thing. I think Dan Fogelman just wrote you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So he sent it to me. And I remember reading it, and I thought, that's me. My God, he wrote me. That's so cool. That's so like me. I'm Jack. And then I flipped a few more pages, and I saw that I'm actually Kevin. I love the script. I think it's great. Very funny. I've got no notes, no questions.
I was sort of at a point in my career where I had done pilot after pilot after pilot, and nothing gained traction. And it wasn't until I read this script that something clicked in me, and I thought, I have to do whatever it takes to be a part of this.
Did a series prior to this, a show called Mr. Robot. And I was like, wow, I got a show that I'm actually gonna be on for a while, you know? And I was killed off in the first episode of the second season. And I was just sad and bitter and telling my friends, it's just never gonna happen for me.
There was a whole year where nothing was happening. I had 81 cents in my bank account, and I was gonna move back home to Florida to teach preschool again. And this script came about, and my really good friend was like, you are this character, you have to read it. I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm gonna be reading a pilot and ever auditioning for a pilot. Are you kidding? Dan Fogelman? No, not gonna happen. We are a hot mess, huh?
Yeah.
Big 3?
Big 3.
The casting process was one of those perfect dream scenarios where I got to cast everybody I wanted to cast.
I'm gonna need everyone in this room to believe me when I say that only good things are gonna happen here today. Actually, no, I don't just want you to believe it. I want you to know it.
I read the scene, and I could see Dan in the back of the room literally just smiling. I was thinking to myself, okay, I think I must have done my job. So I'm gonna need everyone in this room to believe me when I say that only good things are gonna happen here today. Actually, I don't just want you to believe it. I want you to know it.
I remember going to the audition and the birds were birdier, the sky was bluer. I was like, the day's different, it's gonna be amazing. I had a really nice time tonight, Toby, thank you.
So that's it?
Wait, what do you mean?
I mean, you're not gonna invite me in for a nightcap or anything?
Cute. And I get there and I'm like, womp, womp, womp. And I see all the same girls and, signed up, and we're like, oh, hi. And we're all very kind to each other, but we're all like, we want a job. We want this amazing job. I had a really nice time tonight, Toby. Yeah. Thank you.
Wait, what? No. What, that's it?
What do you mean?
I mean, you're not gonna invite me in for a nightcap or a handy or something?
Cute.
I am. Thank you.
And I was still working on The People versus OJ at the time, and my representation presented me with this script, and I read it. And I was reading it while I was at the prosecution table, like in between takes. I was like, who's this guy, Dan Fogelman? I look him up, and I was like, Crazy Stupid Love. Like, that's my joint, right? So it was the best network television pilot that I had ever read. I found him. My father.
When?
Last week.
Last week? And you didn't tell me?
Don't be mad.
I'm mad. Yeah, damn.
Just before I got the show, I remember thinking that maybe it's time to do something completely different. So I was like gonna move to Montreal and like work in a coffee shop. And then This Is Us came along literally like a week or two later.
I found him. My father.
What? When?
I hired a guy.
I went in very early in the audition process. I think I was one of the first people that they read.
Hey, how do you think we're doing at parenting? I think we're at a 6. Honestly, on a sliding scale of 1 to 10, I think we're at a 6, and I think I'm being generous.
The feedback was they really liked you, but now they're gonna go and read a bunch of women in New York and across the country, and we'll hopefully hear back in a couple of weeks once they've done that.
Hey, how do you think we're doing so far at parenting? Because I think we're at a 6. On a sliding scale 1 through 10, I think we're at a 6. And I think I'm being generous.
About 5 or 6 weeks later, we got a call. Okay, they want to bring you back in with a couple of other women and a couple of guys, and they want to sort of pair people up and do what they call like a chemistry read. I got called in to audition with Milo. He was the only guy I read with, and we sort of just instantly had this connection.
Hey, kids, close your eyes in there. Daddy's about to do some terrible things to Mommy.
No. There's no way in hell, babe.
Yep.
Come on. No.
It went well, and I guess the rest is history because we both got the job.
No. Birthday tradition is birthday tradition. So close your eyes in there, kids, because Daddy's about to do some real terrible things to Mommy. In any state, my wife, you arouse me.
I bet I can make that go away.
There's nothing you can say.
My water just broke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Coming up.
The first scene that I ever shot was half naked on a scale. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be different.
Not only could you start to see Milo as Jack, but you couldn't possibly see anyone else as Jack.
I think that was a pretty magical hour of television.
And a very special sneak peek from season 3 when the Paley Center Salutes This Is Us returns.
I found him. My father. My name is Randall Pearson. I'm your biological son.
Toby.
Kate.
So, you want to be fat friends?
The show is so bad. Everything's fake.
I quit.
We lost the third baby, Jack. I'm very sorry. I like to think that you took the sourest lemon that life has to offer and turned it into something resembling lemonade.
Being on the pilot, I knew that this was a special group. You know, there's the script, but then you start seeing the pieces assembled, you know, like Mandy, Sterling, and Justin, and Chrissy, and Sully, and Susan. Everything just starts to round out.
I had to put the lingerie on top of my clothes.
I see that.
It wasn't a great moment for me.
Tradition is tradition.
You could start to see Milo as Jack, and then it quickly turned into not only could you start to see Milo as Jack, but you couldn't possibly see anyone else as Jack. And I remember that happening with every single character as I would watch them.
We knew that like it had all of the makings of something just undeniable.
Each character had something that you could relate to, but specifically for Randall and that first time that he meets William and that monologue that he lets out at him and the turn of it.
I came here today so I could look you in the eye, say that to you, and then get back in my fancy-ass car and finally prove to myself and to you and to my family who loves me that I didn't need a thing from you, even after I knew who you were.
You want to come in?
Okay.
But what he didn't realize once he said, "You want to come in?" He was like, "Okay," was that he was yearning for this connection. And he was able to access a part of himself that he didn't even know was missing.
It exposes people's vulnerabilities and secrets. I think that's what ends up being the success of the show.
The first scene that I ever shot was half naked on a scale. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be different.
The thing that was so extraordinary about the pilot was that it was a twist, basically, at the end.
Someone left a newborn at my fire station. I didn't know what to do, so I brought him here.
Season 1's twist is that this show exists in 2 different time periods.
Such a hard show to market because the very premise of the show, that all of these people are related in different time periods, was a secret until the premiere. So I remember feeling so bad for our poor cast who had to go do all these talk shows and all these events where they weren't allowed to say what the show was about.
Mandy and I were getting off the plane in New York for the upfronts, you know, the big network presentation to advertisers and all that. Mandy turns around from her seat and she says, "There's a trailer got released." I'm like, "Oh, cool." You know, I pull it up, we both watch it, we're both crying just because it was doing that to everyone, including us.
I remember being in a cab. The president of NBC texted me. He's like, "Something's happening with the trailer right now." And by that afternoon, there were articles about how it was breaking records and all of this stuff.
I'm going to attribute it to Milo's bare butt. Like, I think that was just people like seeing the bare butt in the very beginning and then just like refreshing and reloading to watch it again. I think that's where all the views came from.
One of the big concerns when we started was, how is the audience going to track all of the time? I remember feeling very strongly that we needed to change Milo's facial hair in order to help orient the audience so that it would be a marker for the audience to know exactly where they are until they get comfortable inside the show.
We wanted people to experience those other periods with the same kind of emotional immediacy that we experienced the present. And so we don't really shoot them differently and we don't treat them differently.
You have 3 actors in some cases playing one character through different times of their life.
It's really cool to see a younger version, a teenage version. There's so many facets to those ages. And because the show's not linear, there's so much story to tell.
About 3 weeks before we started shooting the first season, I got an email from Dan saying, "I have this crazy idea where I really want you to try and play Rebecca present day, and we're gonna get the best like special effects makeup and wigs and all of that, and if even one person has like an inkling of where they don't buy it, then we'll forego that and we'll do some incredible casting and find, an older actress to play you in those years." I get to play this woman from 22 to 68. At every different facet of her life. It is fascinating. It's never not challenging.
I get a call saying, "We've got to send you to the Valley to do a makeup test." And they said, "Okay, you're going to be here for about 2 hours. We're going to do a life cast." And a life cast is when they mold your entire head and shoulders, and they take a mold of you and they build things onto your face. And I didn't understand why I was going to need that. And I was asking the makeup guys, "Why are you doing a life cast?" And they said, "We're going to be aging you to, 70 or something like that." What? Why? Well, because, present day you're married to Rebecca. What? I'm married to Rebecca? I thought that's Jack's wife. And I went through this whole thing with the makeup artists, and that's how I found out.
When we return,
Surprising amounts of laughter on a show where the narrative is that everybody's always crying all the time.
This family, if you can zoom in there, is actually watching our show. We're filming next door. We're gonna go knock on their door.
when the Paley Center Salutes This Is Us continues.
Hey guys, I'm Milo. We're gonna read a couple tweets from fans. Don't date a girl that's watched This Is Us because nothing you ever do will even slightly compare to Jack Pearson and you'll never be worthy enough. No, don't actually listen to this person. Watch This Is Us, learn some lessons, and maybe be inspired by Jack and how he lives his life and how he loves his wife, and be a Jack in real life, because I'm only a Jack for pretend on TV.
Millions of women everywhere will forever cry when they see a Mars bar. myself included. But I have to be honest, you're doing a scene like that so many times, it would be a lot of candy bars to eat, and I probably would have gotten an upset stomach. So every time we did a take, somebody came up with a trash can so I could spit it out. But I still am sad when I see a Mars bar too.
Oh my, Kevin from This Is Us, the hot sibling. That's not true, we're all hot. Is working out like 20 feet from me. I'm about to scream. You should have screamed. Scream next time.
I love all of your outfits. I wish we were sisters that shared clothes. Girl, where do you live? I'll send you some clothes. I have many clothes to share. And listen, thank God that there are clothes for us girls, because for a long time there wasn't. And I'll send you some clothes. I'm not kidding.
If anyone out there shares the same exact personality traits as Randall in This Is Us, send me a direct message. I want to love and cherish you forever. I'll say this to you, you got good taste because Randall's a good man. I am not Randall. I am not as good of a man as Randall, but he makes me want to be a better person. So if you do find him, God bless you. You found yourself a good one.
Ready? And action.
Good morning.
Morning.
She's right outside.
Cracking an episode of this show and getting it from idea to TV is quite a process. It takes a couple of months. It starts with all of us in the writer's room brainstorming, what's this episode gonna be about?
We have a very sort of, diverse writer's room. It's really important to us to have, people of different races, people with kids, people of different ages, so that one person sort of doesn't have to bear the load of having the perspective of every single character at every single moment.
You put me in almost at the top of the scene. As a director, one of my responsibilities is to assess what the goals of the script are, what the writer's intentions are, and then tell that story.
I think people should start back there so that I see them as they make that turn. So it's clean this way.
I also try to create an environment where this cast can do their best work.
It's a great collaboration, I think, between us all. And we're all really connected.
I try and keep an open door for the actors to come into the writer's room. They do like coming and hanging, and they offer ideas, and it often gets put into the show.
Mandy and I were in the writer's room, just kind of hearing about new stories for the second season, and the storyline for Justin, for Kevin, where he's gonna be working with his movie idol, who happens to be his father's hero. They're like, well, who we really want is Sylvester Stallone. And then they're all just kind of staring at me, and I go, oh, you want me to call him? Okay, yeah, I'll call him. Sly and we worked together 14, almost 15 years ago. Every time I would see him, he would always say to me, if you need anything, call. And I thought, okay, well, this is a little better than a need. This is just, do you want to join us?
I'm on a movie set saving Sylvester Stallone's life.
Every champion was once a contender who refused to give up.
Not so bad.
Oh, Lord. Mr. Stallone, how are you?
The cast is part of the creative process, not just because they're pretty people who say the words on camera, but they're part of all of it.
When we saw the episode coming up called The New Big Three, we were like, wow, did the writers hear us talking?
To the New Big Three.
Part of that came together with the three of us asking for scenes together. We wanted to work together. It's not necessarily a given that Toby and Miguel and Beth would end up in the same room together.
Toby,
Yeah, Beth.
we're day drinking on family day from Kevin's rehab place.
I know, it's like an Alanis Morissette lyric. Because it's ironic.
Surprising amounts of laughter on a show where the narrative is that everybody's always crying all the time.
Come here. Come here. Come to us. Come to us. Come.
We're often shooting in neighborhoods, and we were shooting in a neighborhood, and through the window of the house across the street, Milo could see a family watching our television show live that same night.
So this family, if you can zoom in there, is actually watching our show. We're filming next door. We're gonna go knock on their door. Come on. Hi. Sorry to bother you.
Hi.
We're filming next door, but we happen to notice what you're watching right now. You're watching us.
Yes, I'm watching you guys.
So we're filming this right next door.
Okay, yeah, that's great. I know.
What's your name?
Fred.
Fred Milo. Wait, Zoe, come here. And Fred is watching right now. Look it, there's Sterling, there's Mandy, there's Susan. Amazing. Great. Okay, Fred, enjoy.
Coming up.
Mrs. Pearson, your husband has died.
That was the very, very most emotional thing I think I've done on the show.
I think that was a pretty magical hour of television.
You could.
And a very special sneak peek from season 3 when the Paley Center Salutes This Is Us returns.
Your mom and I, we're not gonna be around forever. And when we're gone, the two of you and your sister are the only people we're gonna be able to look back and remember all the stuff that's happened to you.
This cancer is coming for me sooner than later.
Do you want to stop the chemo, William?
Watch the Steelers and I watch them with my dad.
He sounds like a cool guy. I'd like to meet him sometime.
And I know it's gonna be a little creepy.
This is your dad?
1 week ago, you had a breakdown.
My father doesn't have a lot of time left, and he'd very much like to show me where he's from. The Memphis episode was, I think that was a pretty magical hour of television.
Dan handed us the script and he goes, I think it's the best thing I've ever written. And we're like, well, we better make it the best thing we ever directed then.
We decided to actually shoot Ron Cephas Jones's William's death at the beginning of the schedule, so we could kind of get it over with, so we could all kind of like put that away and then remind ourselves that, you know, we're going to see him going forward.
But what I loved about the episode is up until the end, it was really like a buddy. It was like a road trip. You know what I'm saying? Like they had a great time.
I hope the Ducks are still at the Peabody. My uncle used to work there as a bellman when it was segregated, and he would sneak me in. Man, I sure would like you to see those Ducks.
We were very loose shooting for that show, very kind of running and gunning, like, you know, just camera on shoulders and like running around and grabbing little things. There's a lot of montages. And so we came to Sterling and Ron and we said, there's an old segregated water fountain. Do you want to do something? Just an improv scene. I mean, is it inappropriate for us to even ask you that? And they're like, no, God, that's great.
This is the original water fountain that they kept here for his history lesson. That was white, and this was black.
You know what? I've been living with white people for a long time.
Oh, my God. You're in trouble now, son.
It was a moment for William to teach Randall about some of his own history that he may have been removed from. And Randall reveling in the fact that he's sharing this special moment with his biological father.
William. It's okay. It's okay, I'm gonna get you to the hospital, okay?
But we don't expect it to end the way that it's going to end. So when William all of a sudden becomes sick, you know, you see this young man who wasn't quite sure whether or not he wanted to let this individual into his life. And now, having opened up his heart and let him in fully, now have to say goodbye.
Two best things in my life were the person in the very beginning and the person at the very end. That's a pretty good thing to be able to say, I think.
I think so, too.
Memphis had a lot of depth for me. And I was able to just transfer it right into the character, and William carried that right through that episode, man, all the way until the end.
A little scared.
You're okay, Dad. You're good.
I lost my father when I was 10 years old. And I wasn't allowed to be at the hospital to say goodbye. My family thought I was too young. So there's something deeply cathartic about being able to say goodbye to my dad. You know, it was a perfect sort of symbiosis, if you will, of Sterling and Randall. You know, William and my dad sort of like, you know, laid in on top of one another.
The very, very most emotional thing I think I've done on the show is, you know, the pressure and the expectation that came along with figuring out and learning how Jack passed away.
The moment that fire started, I mean, like, the internet just exploded.
From the second Jack opens his eyes and there's the smoke, it was safety. First, second, and third.
Take your mother out the window and I'm back in 3 minutes.
Jack!
If she won't go out, you drag her out. I love you. Baby girl, I'm coming for you. Oh yeah, thanks. The floor is slippery. Yeah, okay. It's just, I think it's probably the fire retardant. Yeah.
Then it was just beat by beat, making sure we had everything to build the story of Jack responding to this situation and getting his family to safety.
Towel goes under the door the second it closes. If I'm not back in 3 minutes, you take your mother out that window. If she won't go, you drag her out. Dad, hey. I love you.
Oh, that was completely controlled and completely safe, but still, it was a big, real scary fire.
I don't know if I've ever been guiltier as a director than working with Mandy on that show.
I know.
Because every scene she had was utterly devastating. Like the one happy scene she had was when she was deluded and thought Jack was still alive.
One of the complications of smoke inhalation is that it puts a terrible stress on the lungs. I'm afraid we've lost him. Mrs. Pearson, your husband has died.
Super Bowl episode, the candy bar moment of Rebecca biting the candy bar as the doctor's explaining to her what happened to her husband, and the disbelief of just like, and she just takes that bite. I think that's one of the great acting moments that like, it's like my favorite thing.
Are you out of your mind?
No, Mrs. Pearson.
Okay, I think you're mistaking me.
I just need.
No, can you back up?
We had been carrying around this secret for almost 2 years, and I wanted to make sure that I, as an actor, was able to deliver.
We go, okay, you're gonna come in, the cameras are gonna be pointing at you, and you're gonna see Jack off camera.
Babe, Jack.
And she thought it was gonna be an empty bed and she was gonna be acting to nothing. We put Milo in the bed to surprise her, and I mean, it really shows.
Jack.
It was sad, but at the same time, I was happy to get past that story in the second season so that we could kind of get back to the life of the man and understanding the things that made this amazing patriarch of the family.
When we return,
It's always going to be about the wait for me, Toby. Oh, I might get a little teary.
I met a woman on the street. She said, I adopted this baby because of you. And I was like,
when the Paley Center Salutes This Is Us continues.
No more drinking.
You can't just stop.
I can't. For you, I can't. And I'm trying to be strong here, because that's the gig, but it happened to me too.
You always got special treatment.
Because I'm black?
No, because you're black and you're adopted.
Oh, yeah, hit the jackpot with that combination. Couldn't have had it any easier.
In our house, you did.
I've got to get a handle on myself, on the weight, and on all of it.
I'm not sure you've ever experienced anything real your entire life.
I don't think we're taught how to feel. And if we are, it's so uncomfortable that it's hard to move through it. And so that's what is so beautiful about the writing in the show, is that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it.
The breakthrough on the show was the first week I gathered our very talented writers saying, oh no, this isn't a soap opera. This is what is happening in every single person's life. The human experience is shaped by love and loss and joy and hopes and dreams and failure. And it makes all of our lives feel bigger, I think, and more important because of the way the actors play these things and the way you invest in this family.
We have the type of fans that are sort of quick to share their personal stories and to tell you what particular storyline related to them and moved them and impacted their life.
My son is adopted and he looks different than my husband and I, and it's so nice to have a show to watch that adoption is a huge part of the storyline.
So we like watching this family. Because this is us.
I met a woman on the street. She said, your show and your storyline made me realize that there's something that I can do with my life that I need to do. And so I adopted this baby because of you. And I was like, that's the first time anybody's ever told me that before, right?
You're adopted, and we don't talk about that enough. Because to me, you are every part my son.
My mother adopted my youngest brother and sister, who are now 20 and 18 years old. So it was a storyline that was near and dear to my heart because I've witnessed firsthand how love can transform lives.
He wants to adopt a little boy because he was a little boy when he was adopted.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's part of it.
He wants to honor his two fathers by replicating the exact same situation he had.
Well, I don't know if I would put
Hey, Mary, let me ask you. You have any kids laying around that were left at a fire station? Because that might really scratch my husband's itch.
I really dug when they said that we were going to foster and it was going to be an older kid. I just thought, wow, that's so not neat and pretty and tied up with a little bow, and it's just perfect.
Randall, if we're really gonna do this, let's take in an older kid who no one else in the whole damn world is gonna help.
All the writers, and of course Dan, have been so diligent about being authentic in whatever any of these characters' plights are. I think addiction in particular is something, of course, a through line through the Pearsons, whether it's alcohol with Jack or pills or food. We're all trying to fill a void with something.
Don't know everything about me.
Yes, I do.
No,
I know
Rebecca, you
everything
don't. I'm
about
drunk right now. I have been drunk all day. I have been drunk for weeks.
This Is Us is special to me because of Jack Pearson. While he does have his vices, we all do in some capacity or another, but he takes those problems and issues head on and shows what it means to be a man in those situations. And I just hope to be the kind of man Jack Pearson is.
I think Rebecca is a fierce supporter and partner when it comes to facing Jack's addiction. I think she sees the thread in both of her children.
We're a family of addicts.
Okay. We're not a family of addicts.
Our father was an addict, Kate. His father was an addict. I'm an addict. I think the addiction thing just came from all the pain and just keeping everything inside and never talking about his father's death.
Kevin Pearson will walk again just in time to bury his beloved father. That'll keep him down for good this time, right?
When he's on the football field and sort of recounting his life and how people perceive him versus how he's actually experiencing life in his own skin, I thought Justin laid that out.
And he tries so hard to be strong, and he needs painkillers to get through it.
And even when he tries to tell people how pathetic he is, they don't hear it. They just cheer. When I saw Kevin, I didn't see him as this guy that had the world on a string. I saw him as a guy in a crowded room with everyone staring at him and just being totally and completely alone.
The first time I ever showed the cast the television show, we went over to our director, Glenn Ficarra's house, to screen them the pilot. And I was like, Chrissy, like, I don't know what's going to happen to the show, but I know that people are going to attach to this character and your performance.
I knew in an instant when I was introduced to Kate Pearson that she was my character. We both struggled with weight, so watching her storyline is like I'm watching myself on TV.
It's always going to be about the weight for me, Toby. It's been my story ever since I was a little girl. And every moment that I'm not thinking about it, I'm thinking about it. Oh, I might get a little teary. There was a woman who said that my son has an eating disorder, and we're going to an eating disorder clinic right now. But what you've done for him and what you've done for kids and all sorts of people to really accept yourself for who you are, to get to the place you want to be is just incredible. And that was like, because that's all we all want is like to be able to be ourselves, but be loved for that.
The reason why This Is Us is so special to me is because I lost my father. I relate to Kate's character because I stayed the night with my parents the night before he passed away. And if I hadn't have been there, if me and my boyfriend, now husband at the time, had not been fighting, I wouldn't have parked behind his truck. He wouldn't have taken his motorcycle and he would still be here. So I blame myself.
You remember when I told you I couldn't talk about my dad's death?
Yeah, of course.
Well, that's because it's my fault. I'm the reason that he's dead.
If this show is making you cry, then maybe that you need to call somebody, or maybe you need to apologize to somebody, or maybe you need to talk to your mom more, or maybe you need to forgive your brother.
I was not a very good brother to you, was I?
No, you weren't. But you still got time.
Coming up, a special preview of season 3.
My name's Jack.
When the Paley Center Salutes This Is Us returns.
I want my kids to be okay. I want my family to be okay.
We're perfect, but
you made one of the sweetest damn pitches of lemonade I ever saw.
Season 3 of This Is Us has officially begun.
We're so grateful to be back. I am so grateful to be back.
It is so
with
wonderful.
You.
I'm so glad to see you.
I'm so excited to be back. Season 3 is gonna be amazing. You're gonna be crying, and I'm gonna be so happy that you're crying.
Season 3.
First episode this year is probably my favorite episode I've done.
We're going places with these characters and diving deep into their backstories.
Our big three are sort of all embarking on really new life situations. We're gonna see Randall in a really exciting professional situation, Kate and Toby sort of continuing their newlyweds and they're still trying to have a family. Obviously, Kevin is sort of very into figuring out exactly what happened in his dad's past. So it's a really exciting time.
We see Jack in Vietnam, we see Jack and Rebecca as their love is developing.
I'm excited to travel back to the beginning of Jack and Rebecca's courtship in season 3.
It's so much even more emotional to just go back to a period in the 1980s when he's alive, because everything is loaded. You know how borrowed his time is.
As you can see, we're in full effect, perhaps in the 70s.
We're gonna cry and laugh and do all the things that you're familiar with us doing.
We've got social media now, so you get to read how people don't like your character, which sometimes they can't separate you from your character. I hate you, Miguel. My name is actually John, not Miguel. But I understand how you might feel about the character, and we're gonna fix that. Trust me.
At the end of season 2, we see Toby in bed, fairly paralyzed from what appears to be some kind of depression.
I just spoke to the doctor. I want you to come in tomorrow, talk about adjusting your meds.
We've seen a pretty joyful and exuberant and up Toby for 2 seasons. And so I think come season 3, you're going to see the balance. You're going to see the other side of that.
I'm so excited to be back to season 3 of This Is Us because what great way could you spend your summer, and I've never seen everyone in a while, so I'm so happy.
Stay tuned. Lots of exciting stuff coming up.
I tell you what, man, I got the best job on television. Good vibes all the way around, wonderful stories, wonderful people. What I enjoy about the show and the direction that we're taking this year is that we're not afraid to illuminate an authentic marriage. They hit some snags, and we get a chance to witness that happen with Beth and Randall throughout the course of season 3.
I have a new film that opens up called Life Itself. Life is never one thing. It's not a comedy, it's not a tragedy, it's not a drama, it's not an action movie. It's a bunch of different things all at once. And I think that's what I'm trying to do with this film and what I'm trying to do with the show. It's kind of where I live. I'm loath to say it because you're supposed to undersell and then like let people be pleasantly surprised as opposed to letting people be disappointed. But I think this is gonna be our best season so far. It's definitely our most ambitious.
And now, an exclusive preview from season 3.
My mother says at a certain point, I have to get realistic about my life, but I don't know if I agree with that.
You know what I mean? Because I'm a singer.
Wow, I said that out loud. I'm a singer.
I have been sending my demo off, and I have this dream of signing with Reprise Records out in Los Angeles. They're the ones who put out the last Joni Mitchell album, Blue. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking too much. Am I talking too much? Because I feel like I'm talking too much. Please tell me something about you.
Well, my name's Jack.
Okay, that's a good place to start, Jack. Do you maybe want to get out of here? I don't mean that the way that it sounded. I just, the food here is terrible.
Yeah, no, that's...
Okay, great. I'm gonna go get my jacket then.
All right. I'll meet you outside.
Okay.
Jesus, what the hell happened, man?
I met the girl.
You met a girl while
No. The girl.
Can't wait for you all to see what we got in store for you come September.
All right, well, we'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Bye. Just when you thought more couldn't happen, it does. Okay? Because this is us.